What up, guys? It's Spike here. The more I think to myself, the more disgusted I become with some of these religious beliefs that people hold, that people grow up with, that people are taught is some sort of sense of righteousness or divine justice. And I hear some of these beliefs, and honestly, they make me want to puke. Let me get started. First of all, let's start with some of this homophobia. Okay, let's start with some of that. If you happen to love someone of the same gender and express that love, you get to burn for eternity. You're wrong for that. That's sick. That's a sick way of thinking. I'm sorry, but it is. Let's grow up here, away from that, okay? Yeah, you can say whatever you want. They're having sex in the butt. You know what? Why would God care? Really? If there was a God, why would he care? Has anyone ever actually thought of this, or have they just read that ridiculous book in Leviticus and decided it's right? Oh, but it's not natural. Yes, it is natural, and it's not against God. It's not unnatural to love someone of the same gender. Why would people have that tendency if it was? The simple tendency in itself is enough to say that nothing's wrong with it. The simple fact that people can have a tendency, the simple fact that there is a middle ground and that there is a scientific reasoning for homosexuality and bisexuality, that in itself says enough for it not being wrong. Plus, it's between two consensual people. It's not hurting anyone. Let's grow up. There is nothing wrong with homosexuality. Okay? And how about this? Because I don't believe in your God. Because I simply don't believe in proof. If I meet God in the afterlife, I'll tell him right here, I do not trust the words of men. And I think that's enough to say to him in itself. Because the Bible is the word of men. And because I simply don't see the evidence that it's the word of God, and I simply don't see any evidence that there is a God, should I burn for eternity? Someone please explain this to me, because it sickens me. It makes me want to puke that people could have this perspective, that people could teach this to their kids. And plus, how about this idea that sex is for procreation? Let me even just get started a little bit on that, okay? Sex should not just be for procreation. What, are you saying that the only purpose for that feeling of pleasure, for that feeling that you get, that feeling of love, is simply to make babies? Is that the purpose? If so, then who are you calling perverted? Seriously. It's disgusting. I just don't understand it. If someone does that themselves and says they're going to do sex only for procreation, that's fine. But for some people, they feel it's how they express their love. And I don't see that as wrong. That's not a sin. There is nothing wrong with that. The only place you can find anything wrong with that might be the Bible. Okay? That's the only place. Only place. Okay. The fact that anyone could deserve eternal torture or eternal punishment is sick. I can think of the sickest person in the world and they wouldn't deserve it. Hitler wouldn't deserve that because it's eternal. There is no chance for redemption. None. I'm not saying we deserve heaven, but we don't deserve hell either. And you're going to talk about the saved and the lost because we've been saved or not by Jesus Christ. Really? Really? That's what you're going to talk about, whether or not we've been saved by Jesus Christ. Saved by a cosmic Jew zombie. And I've tried to be respectful, but when it comes to some of this, when it comes to some of this bull that people are spewing at me, it becomes awfully hard to be respectful. Okay? I don't laugh at other people's beliefs. I believe everyone has the right to their beliefs. But when children are being taught that people who aren't like them, who don't have their same beliefs, about a God that provided no proof for his existence, for people that love each other of the same gender, deserve to burn in fire for eternity. Well, I'm sorry, but it makes me want to puke. It's sick. And that anyone could deserve to burn in fire for eternity. This life in itself is enough of a struggle to get us to where we deserve a little peace in the afterlife, okay? If you've lived your life as a terrible person, am I saying you should just get off? No. The fact is, I don't see any evidence that you're not just gonna get off. that your life in itself will be your punishment. But the perfect afterlife would not be a heaven and hell, or even a heaven-hell purgatory. It would be for people to take their punishment for the wrong things they've done, things that are actually wrong. Not seeing proof isn't actually wrong. Loving someone of a different gender than you isn't actually wrong. And possibly, things with bad intentions. And this is something that's flawed in the philosophy, is the lack of understanding of intentions. It's constantly blah, blah, blah about what you believe, what you do, whatever. Intentions are taken nowhere into account in this philosophy. Whether you intend to be a good person or make the world a better place doesn't matter. All that matters or not is whether you buy the story of there being a God, and whether or not you believe in Jesus Christ, whether or not you're gay, whether or not you believe in different things. Does no one else see a flaw in this judeo-christian philosophy? Does no one else see that? No one. No one. No one else sees that? Really? Really? You expect me to believe that? Fear. That's what keeps these beliefs in hell. Fear. I've thought about it. In fact, sometimes I've thought about it and almost been afraid. I have to remind myself that it's not real. Because so many people preach it like it is. Like it is real. And why should I believe that it's real? Why? Why should I fear it? What disgusts me is that people would think I would deserve it. The people would think that this God that loves me would send me there. Simply because I saw no evidence for his existence. Simply because I questioned the book that he's supposedly inspired, but I can't know that. I don't trust the words of men. I don't trust the words of popes. I don't trust the words of preachers, and I don't trust the words of the people who wrote the Bible. And I don't see why I should. And if I deserve to burn for eternity, if you think that I deserve to burn for eternity, I don't hate you. I don't hate you. I hate everything you believe in religiously if you think that I deserve that in the afterlife. If you think that that's supposed to happen to me, that that's just. Give me one reason why that should be just. I challenge you. Please, give me one reason why that should be just. I would understand having to pay for our punishments, but we don't pay for a punishment with eternal torture, okay? You don't go in debt for the rest of your life and for all the generations to come because to pay for an ice cream cone. It just doesn't happen. If I were to pay for my sins, if I were to pay for my wrongdoings, I could see that as perfectly just, that I should get what's coming to me. But what's coming to me is not eternal flames or eternal torture. So if you think I deserve that, disgust me. I don't harass Christians. I'm not rude to Christians. I find no reason to be. But such philosophy, I don't blame them, honestly. But anyone who would get some sort of sick satisfaction or feeling of such a righteous God, when I get sent to hell, if I were to get sent to hell, those people make me sick. It's Spike here. And I would say peace out. But I don't see that happening as long as this philosophy, this dark, medieval, sick philosophy, is kept alive.